LIV Golf is taking a whistle stop tour around my part of the world at the moment. So far this year, tournaments have been held in Riyadh and Adelaide, and this week it is the Hong Kong event before coming to Sentosa Golf Club in Singapore from the 14th of March. Now, it's into its fourth season, so it seems the perfect moment to find out where the tour is at, what's next, and more importantly, what fans can expect from the next two events here in this part of the world. So, to answer all those questions and more, I am delighted to be joined by former pro and Singapore's #1 golfer, now broadcaster and LIV Golf on-course analyst, Su-Ann Heng. Hi, Su-Ann.
Hi, Ed. Good to see ya. By the way, for people who are listening in, Ed and I go a long way back. We we used to
We
work
do.
together.
And now you're traveling the world, and I'm still here in Singapore.
Well, now you're a very, very good radio DJ and a very good presenter,
Ah,
as
thank you.
always. Always very talented. Yes. Thanks for having
I
me on, by the way.
appreciate that, and I didn't pay her to say that either. Thank you, Su-Ann. LIV Golf is into its fourth season. For those around the world who aren't as familiar with it, what makes it stand out from other golf tournaments around the world?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question. Let's start with the format itself, the technicalities of how we play. We only play 54 holes. We do a shotgun start, which means everyone tees off at the same time on different holes. And so basically from a fan experience, you get to come in and you watch all your favorite golfers at the same time. Whereas if you compare it to traditional maybe golf tournaments, fans might have to go, okay, well, so and so's in the morning, but so and so's in the afternoon. So I'm going to have to pick and choose who I want to watch, right? Or do I stay at the golf course the whole day? Well, that's not going to be an issue with Live Golf because everyone tees off at the same time. And so the access that you get to the players is great because you see everybody at the same time. And then we don't have a cut. So that it's not like that we play a 36 hole and then cut and then another 36. So it's a no cut event, 54 holes, shotgun start. And then one of the most unique things about Live Golf is the team aspect, which is something that is not very popular, I guess, with a sport like golf. It's very much an individual sport. I obviously have the Ryder Cup, the President's Cup, the Solheim Cup, and then maybe even the Olympics. So not a lot of team type formats in the game of golf. So that's what we have. We've got 13 teams, 54 players. Every team has their own identity, and four scores count every single day for the team competition as well. So it is really cool. Now, from the fan experience, this is where it really is great. It's kind of, if you think about it, like the F1, which you love so much, Ed. There's concerts, there's music, there's an atmosphere that happens for the fan experience. And so, like for this week here in Hong Kong, which is where I'm at, um, Peggy Goo is playing, who's a great Korean DJ. She's going to be performing and doing it on site. So people that buy tickets to the event get to go to the concert as well. And then let's talk about Fan Village. I mean, that's a whole different experience in terms of what you can look forward to. There's really something for everyone, not just every age, but every skill set. And it's a great way to introduce people to the game of golf. And it's just a fun atmosphere. And I think something that we do different out here is we do play music on the golf course. Um, Golf is a very like hush hush game traditionally. We're not that way. We have music playing. Typically, the crowds are quite um, animated and they're allowed to have some fun out here. So yeah, so I think in a nutshell, we do things a little bit different here, um, and it's a really really fun experience.
Yeah, super excited for it to come to Singapore. Vance Joy's performing, which I'm looking forward to. And as you mentioned, so much going on around the event, not just the actual days of the golf itself. You've been there since the beginning, pretty much. How have you seen Live Golf grow over the years?
In so many ways. I mean, from a broadcast perspective, we continue to innovate. We continue to kind of push the boundaries of creativity in terms of translating what's happening out here to the screen. We show the most live shots that's ever been shown in golf. And also, the graphics that we show to kind of communicate what the players are going through, what are they facing, communicate the shotgun start and storytelling. So, and we continue to innovate and we continuously get better and better as a whole, as in terms of production. And I think in terms of the actual league, I mean, we've got the strength of the field's getting stronger and stronger with the addition of John Rahm last year. He brought in his team, and They're like, right now, as of now, kind of the new dynasty. And so, the strength of field is really strong. We're obviously going more global than we have from our inception. We started out as an invitational. We only had 8 events, and then the last sort of 2 seasons plus the season, it's 14 events. So we continue growing. We continue, taking steps to kind of help grow the game of golf in all corners of the world. And I think it's just really cool. I mean, I'm Singaporean, and I'm, in Asia right now, and I feel like it's a great way when you get events like that to the country, it's a great way to grow the game because people then have access to watch what these guys are like. And that's how I got inspired to begin with. When we had 1 or 2 professional events back when I was growing up, I would go watch it, volunteer it, and that inspired me. So I think it's the same kind of effect when we go into all these different corners of the world.
Yeah, I was going to say with Asia, I mean, obviously we both know this sporting scene here in Singapore very well, and you've now
Mhm.
got to know the sports scene around Asia and around the world as well. How popular is golf in this part of the world, and how important is it for Liv to come out this way? Because Singapore in general, you know, we don't get many of the world's biggest golf stars
Mhm.
usually before Live Golf.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, look, we had the Singapore Open, obviously the HSBC, showcasing the best female players in the world, which I think is brilliant, and it's been such a successful event for so many years. I mean, if you watched last week's event and the turnout and people cheering on Lydia Ko as she made that putt at the end, um, but now it's continuing to grow in Singapore. As you can, we have so many professional events now. We've got the HSBC, we've got Live, there's a DP World Tour event happening as well. There's a KLPGA event that happens in Singapore. At the time, we had the Asian Amateur. So I think it is continuing to grow. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of room to grow in Singapore in terms of sport, but specifically golf. Obviously, land, space, access to the sport is can be challenging for some, and that's part of the, I guess, the core root maybe challenge for us in Singapore. But watching, Hong Kong and even the turnout last year with the rain and it was cold, and man, people showed up. People showed like I'm right now in Club 54 on the 18. And last year, when I looked up, this entire green, it just full of people. We had a playoff, and it was just a dramatic finish. And they love it. Even in Singapore, like we had a rain delay, people stayed and people wanted to watch these guys because we just don't get this caliber of players in this side of the world that often. I mean, you're talking about names like Brooks Koepka, Cam Smith, Phil Mickelson, Dustin Johnson, Patrick Reed, Cam Smith, and the list goes on. Bubba. I mean, we've got stacked field, and so when you bring these superstars to places like that, people are going to go. I have to go watch them. Bring their kids. Something that I've noticed probably the most in the last 3 seasons with the league. How many young kids come out to the event, and you can just see it in their eyes how inspired they are um to play the game. And I think that's really, really cool, and that is really the long-term goal, isn't it? It's just to grow the game. So
Yeah, absolutely. I've got my fingers crossed for the weather because, as you mentioned here in Singapore last year, the weather didn't do us any favors. So hopefully things are different this time around. You mentioned some names there, some of the biggest names in golf. I know we're a
Mhm.
couple of rounds in with Riyadh and Adelaide already having taken place, but who should we really be watching out for on the Live Golf Tour this year?
Well, I mean, man, it's like asking me to pick my favorite child. Look, there are some players that are playing really well right now. Joaquin Niemann being probably one of the hottest, not just on our league, but I think worldwide. I think he's proven himself, having won multiple times in the off season last year, and then he had a great off season again this year, playing multiple events worldwide. He won in Adelaide with his performance in the final round, going bogey free. He's definitely a name to watch. He's really fun to watch too because of how creative he is around a golf course. John Rahm, who's never ever finished outside the top 10 since he joined us. So in every single event, he's coming top 10 except one where he had to withdraw due to a foot injury. But other than that, he's coming top 10. So he's one to watch. And of course, you got your Cam Smith. If you want to look for a short game guy, He's awesome to watch. He's good fun as well. So, but I would say pick a team. It's something that is so different with Live is the team, and when you come and watch the event, you can feel it with these players that they do care about their team and how their team is performing, and quite often that actually inspires them to then play better, be better, and they push each other as a team, and I think that's a really cool aspect of our league.
That's the way to do it then. If you're new to live golf, just pick a team and support them that way. Hey, a quick word on Anthony Kim because
Hmm.
after 12 years out of the game, how good is it to see him back? Because I know I saw you interviewing him recently. I think it was after the Adelaide one, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a throwback from Hong Kong here last year, when he shot 65 in the final round. Look, 12 years to be away from a sport is a long time. And then you add on the challenges he had to face personally, and all the kind of things that he had to go through. It's a lot, and as I said on one of our podcasts on Live, it's a very inspiring story when you really dig into it. He just had his 2 year sobriety celebrated a couple of weeks ago, and so you look, he's a guy that when I grew up playing. I watched him play in Ryder Cups, and he was the man. He was like the cool kid in town that just came with so much swag, and kind
Yeah.
of was loud in his own positive ways. And so now, it's not easy to come back 12 years later into a game where number one, technology is so different from what he's used to, or has been exposed to 12, to back when he was playing competitive golf. Players are playing a very different game. The golf courses are different. He's obviously going more global now that he's with our league. So he's had to adjust to that as well. He's now a father, which is really cool, which is probably his biggest inspiration. As a young little girl called Bella, which is really cool. So I think his journey back has been very optimistic, very well received. Honestly, a lot of people have been very inspired by his story. And look, his golf game, the talent is there. It's obviously there. It's just going to take time to kind of get back into the swing of things and get his footing again. So, but it is really cool to have him on a league.
There are 6 new courses on the circuit this year. Is that
Hmm.
right?
Yes. Yeah. Let's see.
Where are you most looking forward to visiting?
Well, we already did Riyadh. And then we got Mexico City. We've got Korea, which is in Incheon. And then I think we go to DC. That's a new golf course as well. I'm trying to, you're testing me right now, aren't you? And then we've
Well,
got
you don't have to say all 6. Is there one you're particularly looking
Indianapolis
forward to going to? It doesn't
and
have to be the
Michigan.
new one.
I would say probably Korea. Korea.
Okay.
They've played the International Crown there, which is a ladies professional team event. It's on a great golf course. It's just outside Seoul. We've got the Iron Heads, which is kind of a Korean team. Coupon Play is on board now. From a broadcast perspective, they also sponsor the Iron Heads. So it's going to be big. Koreans love their golf. So I know the crowd's going to be really, it's going to, hopefully, we have a good turnout in Korea. But that's one that I look forward to. I always love going to Korea.
Who doesn't?
I
And
know,
finally,
I
where
know.
do you see Live Golf heading from here into the fourth season? Hopefully, it's going to be continuing for many more years to come. What do you see as the next step?
Oh man, that is a difficult question. I, look, I think if we just keep doing what we're doing now, honestly, and continue growing and continue doing all the things that we're doing, going global and going to all these countries and bringing these players to those countries and grow the game. I think that's always been the main goal, is to kind of make golf a bit more of a global sport. So I'm not a spokesperson or anything, but as far as I'm concerned, I think it is pretty cool that we are going to all these corners of the world. And it's really cool to experience the different cultures, the different golf courses. You see many different sites. And I mean, if you look at our map, our socials team do a great job in kind of showing people the travel routes during the season. It's intense, but I think the players absolutely love it. I mean, they love it here. A lot of players love it in Singapore. And I'm sure they're very excited to go to Mexico City, Korea, and all these great fun places.
Awesome. We can't wait to see it traveling to those places as well. And we can't wait to see what Liv has for in store for us for the rest of the season. Su-Ann Heng, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks, Ed. It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.